It's weird because it said that the connection is excellent to begin with, and then it just dies. And I am wired, right? Yeah, I am.
Now you're live. Why is
Okay,
it telling me now that you're live?
so it's fine now.
I didn't click live, but apparently you're live.
Okay, awesome. Alisher, could you see whether you could actually see the stream?
Subscribers. Yep. Yeah, that's it. I'm live.
Awesome. Okay, guys, we're actually
Delay.
live this time.
Delayed, but okay.
Risha, sorry, if you could just like be checking in and making sure that everything's okay. Is that okay?
Wow.
Yeah.
5 seconds delay. Sweet.
Yeah, maybe just mute the YouTube stream so yeah, you can just kind of hear what I'm saying.
Oh, your screen's okay?
Yeah, all my screens are fine. But yeah, okay, welcome guys. This has been a long time coming. We have already shot this before, but due to technical difficulties, we're having to redo this. But it's completely okay because I get to speak to this wonderful, wonderful man, Alisher, again. So,
Again.
so if again, I just want to give a bit of an intro to Alisher. You know, he's an amazing content creator, makes really good stuff. Recently, he just started making TikTok videos, you know, so that's also interesting. You know, honestly, really cool guy, and I'll just leave some space for him to, you know, introduce himself. So,
Hey there, guys. Like I said, my name is Alisher, and I'm a dividend investor. I invest for a long time, buy and hold as always. And what I do with this channel is pretty much my journey into investing, of course. And all I'm trying to do is become financially free. And I think everyone's here who's joining our live stream probably looking to invest, grow the money, and just look for the freedom and, grow the money, I guess.
Mhm.
That's all I can say about myself, to be honest.
see, this is what I mean, man. This guy's too humble. Like, you know, he does really good stuff, and like what I'm trying to do now is obviously reach out to a bunch more people. Other young people that are just creating stuff, because I think it's super important to be able to like show other people's creativity and other people's willingness to like, you know, just put actual valuable content out there that can actually help teaching other people like different things. And like, but through my conversation with Nick and my conversation I've already had with Alisher, you know, when I'm talking to them, I'm learning things. So I think it's super useful for all of you guys probably tuning in to also learn these new things. And so please, guys, stick through the live stream. There's some golden nuggets that Alisher has, whether it's through content creation, getting into real estate, or just the general mindset of investing and how to stay invested over a long period of time. So again, guys, don't forget to check out his content. It's Dividends with Alisher. Great guy. But kind of like we started the last one of the really interesting posts that you had recently, I think it's like that people making fun of you in the workplace. Can you just kind of go into that a tiny bit and explain to the viewers a bit of that situation?
Yeah, of course. And, everyone's young. And I started as an apprentice when I was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And, as an apprentice, you do get, I won't say a little abuse, but they start making fun of you, and as an apprentice. And when I was 22 years old, 23 years old, I started investing, and people start asking questions like, "Oh, how much are you making money?" And as a dividend investor, you're always gonna start small, aren't you? Because
Of course.
our first time, 100 quid, I think it was. It wasn't that much, and I was getting like 50 pence dividends, 60 pence dividends, 5 pence dividends, and people I was showing my look at this, I'm making money. Like, and they just looked at me and start absolutely burst out laughing. And, it did hurt I wouldn't say hurt my feeling, but yes.
Can be a bit demotivating.
Yeah, very demotivating. Like you said, oh, why don't you just work and, you make money so much quicker. Seeing the bigger picture of it, like, yes, you start small, but over time, the money compounds.
Exactly.
Yeah, it may take you a long time, maybe 20, 15 years, but at least the money is working for you. And what I did is pretty much, I just ignored the noise. I said, you know what, I'm wrong. I'm going to keep sticking with it.
Yeah.
And I just tried to ignore the noise. Whoever listened to me, joined me. But unfortunately, people, of course, they don't like making the money slow. Everyone wants to get rich quick.
Quick.
They want, just want to get. That's why so many people or do trading
Yeah.
just to make quick bucks and become a millionaire within what, a week, which is very very
Unlikely.
slim. Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Like, in fact, through you just saying this, you're reminding me of other things that we said in the convo, and it's just crazy because loads of those people will say, and they're not necessarily wrong. Where obviously working, you can make more money in the short term. Like, loads of people will look at my current scenario and think I'm absolutely crazy, but they don't really get the bigger picture. It's like how things could potentially grow in the future. I think they are the crazy ones for not like jumping on the opportunity while it's here. You know what I mean? People will try to say that, okay, yeah, if you work more, you can earn more money. I had a friend that always has this classic saying of, oh, don't worry, Kay, you can always earn more money. Just spend it however you want. Like, don't take life so seriously. But, those are the same people that may get the promotion, may earn a lot of money, but they're also spending just as much as they earn.
Yeah.
They're not putting money away. They don't understand the power of compound interest and like how even if we slowly build up our investments over time, like by the time we get to that point, we can sit back and be like chilling while they still have to continue working really hard. It's crazy. And like for me, especially with what I'm trying to do, it can also be a bit frustrating because I know that those people in the future will be the same people that when we are completely fine with like I said, I posted on one of your comments, like, don't worry, man, you're gonna start getting those dividends that are like £100 every month, and then everyone will be like, oh, how did you do this? It's like I've been showing you for years, and you didn't want to jump in with me when it was like at a smaller amount.
Yeah, it's like a little example. Like, I think one of my colleagues reached out to me not long ago. I think he found my page.
Yes.
I don't know how he found it. He's like, oh my god, you're earning £30. Like, how are you doing that? I'm like, yeah, why didn't you listen? Oh, how much did you put? I said, I put only 20 grand, maybe 15 grand it was. And he's like, oh, that's too much money. But I said, it's money working for you. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything. All I did is just wake up, look at my phone. Oh, dividends came in. That's the beauty of it. And he's like, oh, no, it's going to take too long. Oh, else you're going to make money. I'm like I said, you got to look at the long picture. If you look at the short term, I don't really want to speak to you. Like, I've been honest with you because I don't want people to think you're going to make quick money and all you got to do is just go to that guy and say, which stock should I buy? And that make double my money, triple my money, or 5 times my money.
Yeah. That's a very good point as well. And like, I know it's starting to become a bit of old news now, but obviously with the whole GameStop situation, like I've seen quite a lot of growth in people reaching out to me because like there's a lot of newbie investors that got interested trying to jump into the meme stocks. And like a bit of my worry, like I was explaining to Nick, is you kind of shoot yourself in the foot in two ways by just jumping in now. Is because one, either you would have lost a lot of money on the like meme stocks, or two, you made money and now you think, oh, the stock market is a casino, and they're like, okay, which stock is next? Oh, which is the next stock to like 5x or 3x, and I'm getting a bunch of people like, oh, okay, yeah, I heard this nice investing talk you do, but come on, tell me which stock to buy. It's like, nah, I'm not a licensed investor. That's not the kind of like mindset that I'm trying to like instill on people. It's like, you need to understand how to do these things yourself. You need to understand like financial discipline, financial literacy. Like if you just jump on these stocks or jump on anything without understanding it yourself, most of the time you're just going to end up losing money. So it's just really interesting. If you just share a tiny bit of your thoughts on the whole GameStop situation, because I know we talked about that a tiny bit last time.
But to be honest, I was in the GameStop myself as well. I pretty much gambled my money. Like it was about my pizza money. I think it was less than £150. And I said to myself, like, just for towards the cause, I guess. So I just put my money and see where it goes, and my money. The next year, I got like I think it was 150% return on my money, and I literally like cashed out because I knew like the GameStop has no fundamentals. Like running company. I said to myself, there's not much point keeping the money in the GameStop, and I cashed out about 70% of my money. People at work, and people who follow me were asking questions. Oh, is it going to go $1,000? I said to them, like, if you got the money now, just cash out. Like,
Yeah.
it has no fundamentals. People just there to make money, quick money, just pump and dump.
Yeah. Essentially.
And people like, oh no, it's for the cause. The cause is good, and it's going to go to 1,000. And I said to them, you can't control the market. Like, your £100 or £500 is not gonna make difference, and people billions and millions that's how people control the market.
Yeah.
People who also are retail investors not gonna change anything.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Like, again, like I explained in my video, I feel like, yeah, there was a bit of a movement behind it, and that was interesting to see. But at the same time, if you just kind of focus on the stock itself, like you rightfully said, it has no fundamentals. So, of course, it was always going to come crashing down, and people kind of talking about all these different things. They were always just possibilities, you know. The stock squeeze kind of did happen, but people were kind of speculating, you know, there was going to be a bigger one, which obviously hasn't happened. But, you know, I think that was also prevented in loads of different ways. And kind of what we touched on before is, as interesting as the situation was, it highlighted a lot of the restrictions that loads of like commission-free brokerages have. And I feel like, especially in the UK like community, loads of us have been memeing on free trade for a while. So just understanding that if the commissions are free, essentially we are the product. So they have to either jack up the price of the stocks that we individually buy, or they're selling our trades to another firm who can then make money off of us in a different way. So, like, for us making fun of free trade for trying to monetize their platforms in different ways, maybe that's us being a bit too harsh, because maybe if they made a bunch of money that way, they wouldn't have had to be one of the brokerages that actually had to shut off trades, you know. So yeah, it's just another really interesting thought. And another thing that I said is like me getting a whole bunch of new people like jumping into investing. Like, how is that affecting your channel? Like, do you get a bunch of people like now coming to you as like, okay, how do I invest in this? Or how's the growth of your channel been over time?
You know, after the GameStop, yes, I did get a lot of rich people saying, "Oh, should I keep my money or should I buy another one?" I think it was GameStop. It was different stocks like AMC,
BlackBerry.
So many like, "Oh, people are coming out of GameStop. Should we put money in AMC?" I'm, "Oh, don't do that. Like, stop following the
little trends."
The little trends. Like, start thinking thinking short term. Yeah, you're making money now, but you might lose that next day. You never know. And some people did, and I got some messages saying, "Oh my God, I lost all my money, 50% down." I said, "There you go. I told you, didn't I?" And they're always gonna come up with excuses like, "Oh, it's this and that," and I'm like, just really, you're trying to help them, but sometimes they just don't listen to you. And like I said, everyone wants to make quick bucks, and really hard to. You have to have the mentality of thinking long term. But I know new people that are not looking, mentality, just want a quick bucks.
I guess something that would be useful for anyone watching, because I guess I know how I've done it, but how would you say you have started to create that long-term mentality versus a short-term, like wanting to make money? Because like we said, I started off with crypto. I lost money in crypto. You started off with trading. Nick started off with trading. He's doing things in different ways. But how do you actually break away from that short-term mentality of like, I want to make money, to slowly transition to like a long-term investment strategy?
Yeah, like with unfortunately the live stream, which didn't shoot, but like I started with trading. Like I got sucked in. I was on Instagram and just scrolling around, and I saw forex trading.
Yeah.
And I looked at like when people were making like so much money. There was hotels, Lamborghinis, supercars, and beautiful islands. And I'm like, go sink to it. I put my money into it, and not all the forex are scammers, but unfortunately I got tricked into the bad. And the amount of money he made out of me, and I lost about more than 90% of my money. And I'm like,
Damn.
what's going on? Like, oh my God, what? I saw you everything he was telling me was the truth. But unfortunately, there's so many scams out there that all they are trying to do is get your money. And unfortunately, I was, and
Mm-hmm.
after that, I started looking other ways of investing, and I saw like trading, like a penny trading and other value trading,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw this dividend investing, which was getting popular about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I looked at it. I did a bit of research. I thought to myself, would I rather get rich quick, but have a risk to lose all my money, or rather get rich slow, but I have my savings? I want to lose my money straight away
Mm-hmm.
because you're diversified. And
Yeah.
I started from then. I started doing research on companies, different companies. Started looking dividend aristocrats that been paying dividends for 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
dividend kings being paid 50 years. Just started investing in them companies, and next thing I know, like money is coming in,
Mm-hmm.
more money, and just nice trickle of money coming in, and you don't have to stress about it. You don't have to check your phone every 5 minutes, saying, "Oh, I'm down 5%. Oh, I'm down 10%," because your emotions play, and the probably the worst enemy of a human, the person, is emotions, because
100%.
see you're down 20%, you're like, oh my God, I gotta sell this. But sometimes you gotta keep it there and believe in the company
Mm-hmm.
you're investing in. Otherwise, what's the even point in invest? You're
Yeah.
just gambling your money.
Exactly. Like, guys, I hope you're hearing this. Like, look at all the facts that this man is just spitting. Like, it's actually amazing. Like, you just hit on like one of the most important points, and to be honest, that's like one of the like most difficult parts that I'm struggling with now. Is that, and this is why I like at first when people reach out to me, it's like, oh, okay, how do I start investing? I give them all this bunch of information, and a lot of people like to say, okay, cool, thank you for all of that. Let me do some more research, and then they jump on, but then they kind of never break that barrier of starting to invest. Guys, if you reach out to me, please, on that day that you reach out, be ready to invest straight away, even if it's just £1, because the number one thing that is actually the hardest thing with investing is controlling your emotions. Like, if you are, like, I hope you guys were able to watch the recent video that I did on Valentine's Day, and like, the whole point of that is that there's a lot more to it than just the monetary aspects. The more peaceful you are in your just general life, and like the more you can just kind of control your thoughts and your emotions, the better investment decisions that you'll be able to make. So when you see and this is why I kind of always reiterate, it's important to understand the company, because of course if you have more of an understanding of a specific company, it's easier to stomach when that stock price is falling. Because like I've said before, if you've either reached out to me personally, or you've watched my YouTube videos, or you've probably listened to Alisher, stock price is normally, at least in the short term, completely different to the company's fundamentals. It only tracks the company's fundamentals over a longer period of time. So if you're starting to see all this stuff, and especially like even like people that I would say that I would class myself as a long-term investor, Alisher would class himself as a long-term investor, but seeing all these meme stocks kind of go up, like I've got so many group chats where I hear, okay, this stock has gone up 1,000%, this stock has gone up 1,000%. I'm like, I'm just looking around like, yeah. That would be nice to turn my to turn 20k into like 200,000. Like that would be really nice, And the funny thing is, it's possible, but it's just not worth the risk. That literally goes into the gambling territory. So just
100%.
yeah, the point I'm trying to make is just start investing, so you start to actually learn how to control your emotions, because no amount of reading will ever prepare you for how you are actually physically going to feel once you start investing.
And I agree with you. Like I said, with the emotions, and to be honest, like, don't get me wrong, sometimes short-term trading is bad if you know what you're doing, but at least get into long-term investing, like get to know the market, how it moves, how it goes down, like how people react with the news. And after what year or two, when you get the experience, yeah, get into trading, because nothing wrong with the trading. People still making money, but you have to know what you do. Like you have emotions, because markets move on the emotions. Like if you hear bad news, market goes down.
Yeah.
If you hear good news, market goes up. So you got to control your emotions, and you need to know what you're doing with it.
Yeah, 100%. And like I was discussing this with Nick. I was like, why do so many people start off their journey with trading or like some kind of like fast term thing? And we just kind of concluded like that people like to have more of an active control of their money, or like the idea of trying to possibly create a quick return. So like you said, like I think a lot of the investment community, even myself included, I won't lie, can demonize trading. But like I said in my last live stream, I just like information, you know? So even understanding that and possibly utilizing it to my benefit later on once I feel more comfortable with it, you know, that's not the worst thing. But I do like to generally stay grounded in just like long-term investing, you know? But yeah, it's just really interesting. But with that all being said, what do you think about the state of financial YouTube now? I know that I know I already got the answer to this last time, but just to kind of enlighten our viewers, I spend a lot of time like trying to watch my own content, seeing how to like develop it. I also like to try and see other people that create good content either through YouTube or Instagram, and there's a lot of interesting people. But at the same time, I have noticed that loads of people kind of do the same thing, and the finance space can kind of get very boring. And for the kind of people that I'm trying to get into investing, which is young people, they're going to get put off if we start speaking in all this jargon and nothing's like really fun. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what's been your own observations?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like I started with YouTube myself, and I've been doing for what was it, a year or something it was. And it was the time, of course, you're trying to entertain people, but at the same time I was looking at other people's YouTube. And what I noticed, like you said, that it was oversaturated, like the people making the same exactly video. And I thought to myself, like, why am I putting so much effort and making a video when you can go to other channels and see exactly the same thing? And of course, people there on YouTube, some people, of course, not everyone, there to make money on YouTube, and they're just making what's the hottest thing.
Yeah.
And rather than teaching people what they should be doing and giving them knowledge, they just like there to entertain, and just give random stocks and random literature, which is
top 3 stocks of this month.
Top 5 stocks of January 2021. Like I watched it, like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Like I drop it down, I'll go to the next video and they say exactly the same thing. I'm like, I just watched this like a minute ago. Why am I watching it again? And another one, the same thing. I'm like, this is no fun. And that's why I stopped myself, because people were just making the same thing. And I was making the same thing as well. I was guilty of it. Don't get me wrong.
That's fair.
And that's why, unfortunately, I stopped making YouTube. Maybe in the future, I might start doing it again and have a bit more content to make. But at the moment, like I said, oversaturated people, misleading people, and just...
That's kind of what I was slowly getting into the last time, because like my whole thing that I'm like trying to emphasize in a big part of my character, I like learning, and I also very like, more than learning myself, I like pushing that information to other people, and especially if that information can like enrich other people's lives. Like I've been a personal tutor for like over 10 years now, like teaching GCSEs, primary school and A-levels, like, and that's really rewarding. So now that I understand, at least to some degree, this financial environment and how to invest, I try to push that onto other people so people can also make money. So when I see certain channels that it's all part of the YouTube grind, so I can't be too critical of it, but it's very apparent when a video is made just for the views compared to a video that's made to actually like give the the viewers actual good information, and that can just be a bit certain way sometimes. So I was kind of suggesting that, like, maybe if the finance community was a bit more critical of other people, and I guess some of the danger as well, I know we're going to get onto it a tiny bit, it's like other platforms that have other kind of means, so like TikTok or Clubhouse. But with YouTube, since anyone can kind of create anything, and like there's so many people copying other people, false information or bad information can spread quite easily. You know what I mean? So that can also be a huge problem.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think we talked about big YouTubers like Financial Freedom, they have such a massive influence on younger people like investing.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this. One of the stocks I got guilty of it last year was this Carnival Cruises, and we talked about this. And
Yeah.
I fell into that trap and said, "Guy knows what he's doing," like, and he like gives good information.
Mm.
But unfortunately, I got synced to it rather than doing my own research. Yeah, I might did like 5 research, like, oh look, everything looks good. This guy knows what he's talking about, and I invested in myself.
Mm.
And unfortunately, due to the COVID virus and the stock just crashed, and I thought to myself, that was probably the biggest lesson I have learned, which was massive. That was down more than 70%, 60%.
Yeah.
And then when you invest 500 quid, like for me, that was back then was a lot
of
of
money.
to think about. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I trusted this guy. And what the lesson is, you shouldn't trust investing to other people. Always have yourself to blame, because you do the research. It's your money, and you had to do your research and your own due diligence into the stock. And unfortunately, so many younger people like fall into it, and
Yeah.
they get scared. If they get scared in investing, then they never come back to it.
Exactly.
Because they lose all the money.
That's another reason why I said people need to be really wary that are just starting investing, because like if you jump onto all these meme stocks, you lose a bunch of money and you're like, oh, the stock market is a scam. That is shutting down so much of your future potential. And like, thank you so much for bringing that story up again, because I think that was a really good one about last time. So there's this specific finance channel that if you watch any kind of finance YouTube, you'll quickly come across this, and this is just so important, which is why I'm going to emphasize, never take any kind of financial advice just off of one person. No one on YouTube, to be honest, no matter, even if they say that they're licensed, it doesn't matter. Like, YouTube should be a starting point, or just a tiny bit of spice to your total like list of ingredients when it comes to actually making an investment decision. So never just watch one person be like, oh, even with me, guys, like, oh, I trust Kay, I'm gonna just jump on what he buys. Nah, never do that, because like Alisher said, we've all made that. Let's be real, we've all kind of made an investment decision based off of like some kind of influence that we've seen, and YouTube can be extremely influencing, which is why, guys, if you are making content, please kind of bear that in mind. No amount of disclaimers, kind of washes away the bad doings of like you recommending trashy things to your audience. But so Carnival Cruise Line was a great example, and for me, I also invested in Carnival Cruise Line because of a bigger YouTuber. Just what he said just kind of made sense. I was like, oh, okay, cool, but one really good thing that came out of that for me anyway was being able to actually start to understand what is meant by understanding a company's fundamentals. So with Carnival Cruise Line, I bought it before the crash, and I bought some of it like while it was crashing to reduce my cost basis. But with me, the reason why I jumped out of it, and luckily at a reasonably good time, because I didn't just stop at, okay, this YouTuber telling me about the company. I looked into it myself and tried to understand more of the business. And it's not really that hard if they're a cruise line. Like, at the end of the day, they need to have ships to actually start to make money. So with Carnival Cruise Line, when they first issued debt, that was okay. But then when it got to the point where, okay, they had to start selling their ships, I was like, okay, I have to jump out now, because now the company is fundamentally worse off than it was before. Like, even if this COVID situation goes away, they now literally have less ships to actually make money with. So it's now objectively a worse investment. At least that's how I saw it. So that's how I jumped out. So those are the people that have asked me, which is a really good question, when is a good time to sell? Don't just sell because the stock is going down. That's not a good time to sell. Assess the fundamentals. If the fundamentals of a company change, then maybe that's a good time to jump out. But
yeah, I agree. You couldn't say better, mate. You couldn't say better.
Yeah. But just to kind of go on to like the other platforms now, this is something we didn't talk about much last time. How's TikTok going, man?
To be honest, I did TikTok before, but it was I did TikTok when I used to do YouTube, and I got a bit old, and I stopped doing it. But again, I want to give it another try with a TikTok because it doesn't take too much time with it.
Okay.
But TikTok, it does get you sucked in so much, and you start watching all the different videos. It's like, oh god, here we go again. And you get lose the track of time. It's like look at outside. Oh, it's on. Three videos. It's like, oh my god, it's already night. I'm like, what's going on? Where's the time gone?
Yeah.
It's very addicting, and sometimes you lose your focus and start watching different type of videos. Rather than watching education, you start watching silly videos, and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was my problem with it. Like, I jumped onto TikTok like a lot sooner than it blew up, and I was just like, like you said, I'll just be looking outside. Oh, it's nice and sunny. Look on TikTok, look out, and then the sky's black. I was like, where did the time go? So it's kind of funny to me that a bunch of these, a bunch of finance creators are jumping onto it now, and I think it's cool, and like I think it also reaches a younger audience, which is good. So I don't know how many people, like, at least for me, I think it's quite easy to digest a YouTube video and maybe want to start investing. I don't know how many Gen Zers are watching investing TikTok and be like, oh, wow, that makes sense. Let me start investing. I don't know, like, to be honest, like maybe they are, but I think it's a good idea to at least when it comes to content creation, diversify as many streams as you can, because essentially you just want to get eyes on your content. So yeah, that sounds interesting.
It's true. Like it says, Gen Z, like they don't like watching long videos. To be honest, that's what I noticed.
That's true.
Even I look at my and like literally watch a YouTube video, like if it's less than 5 minutes, and like, oh, that's it. I'm like, you haven't even watched full of it. Like you skipped half of it. And said, I'm not watching that. I'd rather watch Sticker, which is less than 30 seconds. And I can skip it. I'm like, all right, I see where you're coming. And that's why I got instructed that if I do TikTok, my cousins and my family start watching, at least get to at least
absorbs. Yeah.
Introduced.
I guess that's a very healthy way to think about it, because the one of my own flaws, I would say, is with the way I think. Sometimes I find it very hard to like, I personally like watching long videos. Like, I see like an hour-long video on something, I'm like, wow, that's going to be really in-depth. I'm going to learn so much. I'll sit down and I'll watch that. Whereas other people would look at that, and I've even had so many friends, like, when I was in my early days of, like, making YouTube videos, like, okay, that was a really nice video, but it was 20 minutes. Like, like 20 minutes. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not even going to say much, but I was like, I just kind of look at them, I was like, guys, do you have like the attention span of squirrels? Like, really? It's not that hard. But there's something to it, like people do have like other things that they're doing. So yeah, I guess it makes sense. And yeah, having it as an introduction to the other stuff that you're doing is a very good way to see it. So maybe one day you guys will see me on TikTok. Probably not, because it's incredibly cringe, but good luck to everybody else that's on the platform.
With everything, like every different part, you got the goods and the bads, and so you can't really complain.
True. One thing that I've been wanting to talk to people about for the longest time, especially now that I'm on it, so I can probably go into it a bit more than we had in our last conversation, but Clubhouse. Like, I know you don't have an iPhone, do you? No, yeah. It's the Clubhouse app, man. They need to hurry up and get that on Android. I literally bought an iPhone, just through people recommending me that I need to be on that platform, and just seeing how the platform is and how useful it can be for content creators and also viewers to just absorb information. So for anyone that doesn't know, Clubhouse, let's just say you can jump into, think about it like a conference, right? As a conference, but it's audio only. So you have people on the stage, which will be like the main speakers, and then you have a bunch of other people who are also shown like lower down, who are just listeners. So essentially you can host all these audio conferences speaking about whatever, and it's just a really good and like interesting way to just kind of explain some concepts. So like you have like obviously content creators talking about how to gain followers or how to craft a really good video. Then you have a bunch of like people that are investing now, teaching people how to invest in stock markets or teaching people about complex things. It's really well. Before I was saying it's really good. Now I have more of a mixed feeling towards it, because I feel it's really useful if you have a limited knowledge on that topic. But I only say that because the people that really know what they're speaking about, it's really easy to differentiate them. But I feel like at the moment, at least the rooms that I'm coming into, there's a lot more people that don't know what they're speaking about compared to people that do, you know. And if you have a bunch of people that don't really know what they're speaking about and they group together, everyone kind of acts like these people are actually, saying the right thing, So I've recently come into so many Clubhouse rooms where people were like, oh yeah, so you see, investing in what was that company called? Kodak. Oh yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? Or literally someone was saying how they invested in freaking BitConnect. And I was just like, what am I hearing? I was like nearly hyperventilating. But I think the pro that Clubhouse has is if you're lucky enough to come into a room that has someone that actually knows what they're speaking about, it's really easy to start to vibe with that in comparison to someone that doesn't know what they're speaking about, and it's just easy to go into a lot more like information on certain topics. I'm sure you've probably found it as well, like with like YouTube or TikTok, we're trying to make very clean cut pieces of content, so there's always a bit of nuance that gets cut out. Like in my most recent video, I kind of explained the benefits of having friends or some kind of relationships when it comes to investing. Obviously there's a lot more I wanted to say, but if I'm making an 8-minute YouTube video, there's only so much I can say, whereas in the Clubhouse, I will happily spend hours speaking about everything I want to, so I do think it has a lot of value.
Yeah, hopefully, like you say, hopefully it comes on Android, because I'm like, people talk about it, like I'm so iPhone, I'm like, no, I gotta hold on to myself, I have to stick to my budget. So hopefully it comes out and join as well, because like I said, it has like Elon Musk is quite into it as well, isn't he? So I'm looking forward to listen to that.
Yeah, like it's really good, and I think they just need more. One thing I wish they had was a kind of a rating system. So before you join the room, you can kind of gauge how people felt about it, so you don't waste time in a room where people are just saying nonsense. But yeah, no, it's really good. And like once you eventually jump on, man, we all need to make a like UK investors room.
Oh, God. We should make it like a UK community or something, like they do in US.
100%. Like
UK is not very compact, I think. It's like everyone's like all over, they're doing their own thing. It's not very community wise.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. It's like everyone is doing their own thing, which is why I said before, like loads of people have Discords. Like I feel like it's cool. It's all cool and all for all of us to have like our own separate ones, but we should have a joint one as well. Like us networking with each other only benefits everyone else and will also ultimately benefit the viewers. I think that will solve a lot of issues, especially if someone jumps on and they're not that informative. Maybe through these other backdoor channels we can kind of help each other out to better our content, rather than someone making a video saying this person creates trash content. I think that's a really good idea, actually. But yeah, let's see what else I want to talk about. Then last stream, you mentioned something that was so informative. So for anyone that doesn't know, Alisher also, he doesn't only invest in stocks, he also invests in real estate, which I think is so interesting, especially being as young as you are. By the way, guys, I'm 25, Alisher's 24, am I correct?
24, yeah.
Yeah, like, and you're already, like, I think in the place that you're in right now, are you renting that out, or?
Yeah, it's my place, and I'm renting one of my bedrooms out.
That's amazing. So if you can kind of talk about the process and how you got into that.
Yeah, the process pretty much was, like I said, I'm looking at ways of making money, and I think real estate has a biggest return you can get because you can leverage your money.
100%.
And I started looking at the real estate, like how can I make money, you know. But to buy a house in UK really hard, especially if you're a young person. You know, you had to have so much money just to make deposit and start making paying mortgage stuff. But
Yeah.
luckily I had this start, and I had a big help from my family, of course. But I started looking stuff like what can I do to start making money straight away. Was this flat? And one of the things I found out is I can rent it out, and pretty much I think I'm sure it's all tax free till £1,000, but don't. And I started looking for people who wants to rent out the spare room, because otherwise it was just staying there and not making me money.
Yeah.
Luckily, I found a friend who due to the losing the job didn't have anywhere to stay. And I said to him, just pay the rent, just covers the bills and the tax. And he said, yeah, no problem. Start paying me for the room, which is, I thought to myself, that's pretty good. Like I'm already making money from, just renting a room. And I started looking at other ways to making money. And I started looking how to do in the house, and I did a refurb on this room and this house. I'm still gonna make a few more ways at this house to bring up the capitalization of this house and start renting out a bit more when I move out. Because I'm looking for another property this year to buy it and start renting out other rooms, like
that's so cool.
City called York, because York has a lot of students as well, and students, of course, they can't afford paying thousands of pounds
for the entire place.
Yeah, and I think for them, budget-wise, it's so much easier to rent a room, which is 400 quid, 500 quid, sometimes less. And that's what I want to get into this year. Hopefully, start buy a house and start do the refurbishment, make it as nice as possible for students to live there. Rent out rooms and start making money from a house, from real estate, should I say.
Yeah. And just to kind of add to like parts of what you said before, I think a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about how to actually get into real estate. Like you were explaining that some of your friends had all these like, which maybe still is kind of hard to understand, but have all these like complex ways, or maybe not so complex ways of getting all these properties with not that much money. You know what I mean? And I think one really good point that you put out there, and it kind of goes the same with investing, you really have to start. You could spend so much time saying, oh yeah, I'm eventually going to do this, or I'm going to build up this amount of capital. Like if you don't try and actually push yourself out there and maybe get out of your comfort zone just a tiny bit, you're never going to get anywhere with it.
Yeah, like with everything we do, everything, we have to make that first step. If you don't, you're never going to get into it. And like you said, he explained it to me, but for some reason my mind just can't process it. Like the way he doesn't cheat the system, but he has a way just to make a small deposit and start and buy the house straight away. And for me, it's a little bit complex. That's why I want to get into myself and start learning my own. He learned his own way, and he tried to explain to me, but I didn't understand, unfortunately. That's why I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna make that first step myself, get into it. If I fail, I fail. Everything's learning is a learning step.
Yeah.
If I don't, I can share it with other people, like younger people myself, who same age or old, and give them advice to them as well.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm waiting for those advice videos or those YouTube videos that you're gonna make, because that's really interesting. And I have so many people in my community as well that are like that. Yeah, sure, they're interested in stocks, but everyone likes the idea of physically owning something. I guess you do physically own the parts of the company, but actually being able to see and have a more tangible, investment. This is my place that I'm renting out to other people. It's making me money. I think lots of people really like the thought of that, and so just seeing that another young person that's 24 is already doing it, I think that is extremely motivating. So man, you have to commend yourself. You are doing like really good work.
There's still so much work to do. It's only, if you think about it in the long term, I think in 5 years I'm getting much better. But for now, it's like, oh my God, I'm doing such a big thing.
Yeah.
But in 5 years, I'm going to be thinking, oh my God, that was just a baby steps. Like, I thought it was only just I'm in his job. But for me now, it's like, oh my God, like what's going on? My mind just all over the place, and everything's everything's a beginning, I guess.
Yeah, it's bad, but like I think you also said something like that was also really good. It's like even if you fail, at least you know you tried. I actually saw something today on, I think it was Instagram or maybe it was a YouTube video that I watched, but actually it was on Twitter. It was one of the Winklevoss twins actually tweeted this. It's like being accepting of failure and learning how to create a good attitude towards failure is a superpower within itself. Like you to be able to move on and evolve, you need to try all these different things and be okay with failing, because that's the best part of it. You know, when you fail, you should reflect on it and be like, okay, how am I going to do this thing better, or what can I give, what can I take from this experience that could be beneficial to somebody else, you know? And that's why I guess like so many people want to jump on YouTube and document their journeys of investing, because not only like, oh guys, this is amazing, you know, when there's eventually like a bear market and everything comes crashing down, you can see how things have been over time. And I think that's immensely valuable for people, you know? So yeah, I think too many people are too comfortable in their set ways of doing stuff, and like people need to be more like willing to, you know, just make mistakes. But yeah,
agree. And like people, because I don't know, I'm gonna argue with the system. Like with schools, we're so like we got like everything has to be perfect. Like you had to get perfect grades, you had to get perfect score, and I think it was so sold it in our minds like everything has to be perfect, and we can't make like, oh my god, that's it, you failed, that you can't do anything with your life.
yeah,
And I think people have to break that thought, like say to themselves, like if I'm wrong with that, like I can learn from it, and next time I'm gonna make it. I learn from that lesson and make it better. Otherwise, like people just fail, like with trading, like, oh my god, that's it, and then we're gonna touch it again. Or with long-term investing, like they fail, they invest in bad stocks, said, oh my god, that's it, I lost all my money, I'm never gonna do it again. Like you shouldn't do that. Like yeah, you failed, but at least you learned it. Now you gotta move on and develop yourself and learn why you did it wrong and keep moving forward. Otherwise, you're gonna be that step and you're never gonna move.
So much good information, man. Like, see guys, I really hope you realize like how valuable what this guy is saying is, you know. So again, Dividends with Alisher, you guys follow his Instagram, subscribe to his YouTube channel, like it's all amazing stuff. Yeah, and it's I'm trying to really push that idea onto people, because it's not just about learning how to invest or how to do these things, but it's about I feel like the better YouTubers are trying to push on the mindset and the behavioral aspect of it, and it's like it's really hard to do, you know, because
it's not easy.
Yeah, it's like I can tell people, okay, yeah, Tesla's a good investment and stuff like that, but like what's the best way in yourself to learn about it, to be okay with living like very minimalistic, or like being okay with like in my situation now, obviously like I don't have a normal job. I see like I have a lot of friends that are like in high up positions now, and just being okay with seeing people progress, while it to me at the same time kind of feels like, you know, for a long time I'm not gonna be anywhere, and like just being okay with that, you know. It's a very hard thing to convey, but you know, I feel like people with certain personality types do feel that a lot more, and maybe it's easier for them to kind of connect with. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how the space evolves, and you know, yeah, just seeing where things go, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree.
But yeah, when it comes to the whole idea of content creation, or like jumping onto YouTube now, what would you say to new people that are either wanting to invest or create some kind of informative content through any one of the platforms that we've talked about before? Like, what would your advice be to newcomers?
This is quite a hard one, because you know, being a content creator myself, I would just say, just document. It's like, at least like when you're like 5 years later, you're gonna look at yourself and see what you done wrong and what you did good. Just really hard, because as creating something that relates to yourself. I guess that's why I do personal journey.
Yeah.
I just want to document this next time when I have my kids or family, so at least they can watch it and say, "Oh my God, my parents or whoever did this amazing," and at least they can learn from it. You might not, just gotta create your own thing to your own personality. Don't try to be, someone else or trying to be yourself and just enjoy it. You have to enjoy it, otherwise, like it becomes like a second job.
That's
you don't want
true.
You don't want to be that.
Yeah, that's very true. You have to enjoy the process, like, because if you don't, yeah, like everyone likes the idea of this passion or this thing that's perceived to be easy is now your job and it's making you all this money. But trust me, if you're doing it for the wrong reasons or you're imitating people, you will quickly come to hate it. I think it's very apparent when, like, loads of people have jumped onto YouTube or some kind of content creation and loads of people have dropped out. Like, I'm not saying that's not just because of like feeling some kind of way, but life also does affect people, so I understand that. And there's been some really good creators that for other reasons have had to like step away. But if you enjoy the process, even in those hard times, it can motivate you to come back and remember the purpose of you actually creating content. Like for me, I'm like, even when I'm like, look, there's days, man, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't want to do anything today. I'm not feeling good. I just want to like lie down or just like, just play with my puppy. But, I'm like, this video can help people in some way. Even if only 2 people watch it and those 2 people get something from it, it's worth it. And that's what motivates me through my computer crashing like 15 times.
To watch your stories like, he failed again. No, like, come on, you can do it.
Man.
You can do it.
Man, that last video really killed me, man. Like, to get to the end of it, then to upload it, and then for it to just be copyright striked, man. I was like, I hate my life. I didn't realize YouTube was so strict, because like I swear before they would allow you to use a video or song if it's only like a tiny bit of the like video. But nah, they saw there's this like funny bit where I insinuate something, and I wanted to use The Fix by Nelly. Like I thought that tune really fit that section, and they were like, nah, we're blocking your video because you used like this 10-second clip. So it's like, okay, well, it's good for me now, because I'm gonna make sure I don't do that again. But man, it's crazy.
It's hard, yeah. It's really, really hard.
But I kind of going off of what Alisher said, my tips for anyone that's either getting into YouTube and getting into investing, just start, because I think both of them are somewhat of I always say investing is more of an art form than a science, and YouTube is definitely an art in creating videos and crafting it. You just have to be authentic, and both of them, be yourself. When you're investing, you want to invest in your circle of competence, things that you actually understand, something that and if you don't understand, you can go away, try and research it, try and learn it, until you personally feel comfortable with it, not because somebody else recommended it to you. And with YouTube content creation, you have to be authentic, because at the end of the day, you are putting stuff out there that is most likely going to outlive you. So just imagine the concept of putting out crap content, and again, obviously your content will evolve over time. But what I mean by crap content is just things that aren't authentic, things that your viewers will watch and not take any value from. You don't want to be that guy. So just be yourself, and I think that's the best route to take, over the long period of time. But yeah, man, I can't think of anything else that we haven't already touched. But unless you have any new questions for me or something else you wanted to touch upon.
I want to just hear your thought about crypto. What do you think of crypto? I think, was it today it hit 550?
50 grand, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
It's crazy, and it's if any of my boys are watching this from the Stock Movers group chat, man, it's really interesting, because I feel like Tesla just yeah, of course, Tesla just buying like 10% of their balance sheet in crypto is huge. You know, like I cannot like emphasize how big of a deal that is. I feel like loads of people, including myself, for the longest time were on the fence with crypto because either we've had a bad experience with it in the past or the adoption rate hasn't been as quick as many anticipated. But once a like literally an S&P 500 listed company puts their own backing into crypto, Bitcoin specifically, because you know there's lots of different types of crypto. I think it legitimizes the space so much more, and that on top of what happened with like the whole Robinhood situation with Wall Street bets, I think people are looking for more assets that they know that you know is not in the control of anybody else, so a decentralized system, which Bitcoin is. You know, I think in my own stock group, full of like very intelligent individuals, we were discussing it and debating it. One of the people there, I think his biggest gripe with it is, even if it grows, he doesn't see the government ever getting to the point where they don't just shut it down. You know, which is a good argument, but at the same time, the way I think about it is the government will be shooting themselves in the foot by restricting their people to be able to invest in it if it gets to the stage where it's that popular. Because at the end of the day, the people will still find a way. And if other countries or other states are making it easier, people are just going to migrate. You know, it's very hard to fight against technology nowadays. And if you do, most of the time you're the one that's left in the dust when everybody else adopts this new thing, you know? So to kind of answer your question, crypto, I think, is a big space, and I think it's filled with a bunch of shady characters. But if you focus on the actual good parts of it and just focus on the, like, to me, the two main cryptos, Bitcoin, Ethereum, forget about the rest, to be honest. I don't think you can really go wrong because there's a good case with holding those.
Yeah, of course. And to be honest, like I hold crypto myself. Like I started doing it last year since the crash, and you know I'm always doing crypto. And to be honest, like so many companies like started to adapt to it, like Visa did, Mastercard. That's what you mentioned. And I think today Apple.
Yes.
That was a wallet. Like I didn't do too much research, but I think Apple allowed it with the wallet. You can buy stuff. I'm like, wow. So Apple doing it. Tesla's doing, like, who's next big company, like Amazon or? Yeah,
in fact, one of the guys in my group said that I think Amazon is trying to create their own cryptocurrency or something like that. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, but I think it has a massive potential. And I think I recommend to anyone who could hope for, you know, just in general, I think they should put some spare money. Don't put like thousands of pounds. Just put like, I don't know, £100, £50. Just keep it there, just in case it grows, because you never know.
100%.
You never know.
Like, yeah, with my own thoughts about it, like before this, I would say crypto or Bitcoin specifically was like 1% of my portfolio. Now I'm actively trying to change that to between 5 and 10% of my portfolio. You know, because to me, just the domino effect and where things are going, it just makes sense to have a lot more in crypto. And like I don't want it to dominate my portfolio, but you know, also with all of the money printing that's coming in, like England is slowly transitioning to negative interest rates. I don't see a situation where like we don't experience some kind of like inflation, like some kind of like really bad inflation. So and that's one of crypto's main selling points, you know, it's like, oh, a good hedge against inflation. So, you know, it's always nice in the rare occurrence that, you know, a Mars bar will now cost £10,000. I have some crypto, so at least I can feed myself and my dog. So yeah. Yeah, man. Well, I think we've just about hit the hour mark. Is there anything else you want to say? Shout out anything?
Just want to shout out, you know, to all the followers who follows our content, and just, you know, I just want to be thankful to all the followers supporting the channel, supporting the pages, and just want to say, just be patient with everything. Everything takes time. If you want to get rich quick, I'm sorry to break your heart, but you have to rethink of your mentality of investing. Otherwise, you're never gonna succeed in anything if you think of short.
True. Ah, man, words of wisdom, man. Like I was thinking, like the last time, I was honestly so annoyed that it didn't record because like you left it on such a good high note, and now you've just topped it, man. Alisher, thank you so much for
And
taking this time
thank you
again
for
to
having
speak with
me.
me. Yeah, no worries. So guys, remember to like, please share this if you found this useful. Remember to go to Alisher's page, follow all his socials, show him some love, and remember, subscribing to me will pay dividends to your future. Okay.
Thank you.
See you guys. Bye. Cool.